Okay, so tell me a little bit about how you got started in the disability community and what has your journey been like? Please introduce yourself first.
Okay, my name is Kayla Davis, and I am an education specialist, teacher for the YokiWorks Foundation. And my journey, yeah. So I graduated college with a bachelor's degree in early childhood education and special education. After graduation, I began as a classroom teacher in second grade and then moved on to be a fourth grade literacy and history teacher. After my first year of teaching fourth grade, I transitioned into a collaborative classroom teaching alongside a special education teacher, working with students that have 504s and IEPs. Many of these students had disabilities in reading. And in working with these students, it really inspired and motivated me to want to find ways to help them build their confidence and achieve their reading goals. So during 2020, I decided to go back to school and obtain my master's in education with a reading specialist endorsement, which led me to explore different types of reading disabilities, especially dyslexia. And this motivated me to want to learn more about these disabilities and how I could help my students that are struggling with reading and those that have dyslexia. So when I finally decided to leave the classroom, I joined the YokiWorks Foundation, which specializes in individualized support for students who struggle with reading, specifically dyslexia. And I am currently a senior education specialist who works one-on-one with students teaching and remediating foundational literacy skills.
That's cool. So what sorts of things are you doing in the disability community? I understand that you have a background in education and that you talked a little bit about that.
Yeah, so great question. As I mentioned before, I work with the YokiWorks Foundation, which is a nonprofit organization that provides individualized reading support for students ranging from kindergarten and up. Many of the students I work with have dyslexia or a reading disability. A major focus of my work with these students is helping them to understand why we are doing what we are doing and how we are helping them build strong connections in their brains to allow them to read. But we don't just help the students at YokiWorks. We spend a lot of time with parents helping them understand their child's disabilities and supporting them through the process of sifting through testing and evaluation results and providing support through the IEP process. And another great thing that YokiWorks offers is a free screening for children. We provide this at no cost to families to help them better understand their child's areas of weaknesses and strength in reading. And we provide advice for next steps and if our program would be a good fit to help support their child.
hmm So my next question here is, how are you helping students succeed in the classroom? What sorts of strategies, approaches do you use to help students, do that? Because I know there are some kids with like dyslexia and other needs. So like what tools do you use, so to speak?
Yeah, absolutely. So student success is huge to me because a lot of the students that I work with have been unsuccessful in reading for some for many years, or have felt like they are continually failing when it comes to reading. So building their confidence and making them feel safe in the learning environment is really important to me. At work, YokiWorks, we do everything virtually. So when I'm teaching, my goal is to make students feel like they're heard, make them aware of their progress, and then pull in as many personal interests that I can into our lessons. I believe calling attention to any form of progress or success, no matter how small it is so crucial because building that confidence and showing a student that they are capable is really important. There is nothing more rewarding in this work than to see a student light up with a smile because they realize they can do it. We follow an Orton Gillingham inspired curriculum. So my instruction is explicit, systematic, and direct. And this type of instruction is extremely beneficial for students with reading disabilities or dyslexia. And because most students I work with have a deficit or difficulty with phonological awareness, I target these skills specifically and help students strengthen their ability to perceive and manipulate the individual sounds in spoken language. We play a lot of games and do fun activities during our lessons to help keep the students engaged. YokiWorks actually uses a collaborative platform on the YokiWorks app so that students can manipulate and engage in activities live with me.
Mm.
And finally, I'll say instruction is differentiated based on the needs of each of my students. Some students need multiple exposures, some need an even more multisensory approach. As an educator, I think it is important to meet the needs of all students and meet them where they are and provide instruction that is clear and direct, but also helps them master the content. So if a student isn't getting something, then it is my job to teach them or to find a way to help them understand.
Mm-hmm. My next question is, what sorts of stakeholders do you like partner with in your line of work?
Yeah, absolutely. So we work a lot with individual families to provide the reading support their children need. Parents usually come to us for a consultation, and we provide answers for their questions and recommendations based on the needs of their child, whether that is providing a screening for them, recommending more diagnostic testing, or providing that ourselves, or providing our intervention services. We also partner with individual schools to provide screenings and intervention services for students at risk or with dyslexia. And then our newest venture at YokiWorks has been we're taking on training teachers to help them with the why and how of teaching reading. Our goal is to provide the knowledge and practical application of teaching reading for teachers to meet the needs of all students, including students with dyslexia.
Mm-hmm. What impact does your work have, not just on yourself, but in the community as a whole?
Yeah. So for me personally, I mean, working with students is very inspiring and impactful because I get to make a difference in their lives by giving them one of the greatest gifts I think there is, and that is the ability to read. But I do think the biggest impact of my work is to give students the feeling of confidence and empowerment that even though they do have a learning disability, they can read and they can be successful. I also think another huge impact we make at YokiWorks is that we empower parents with the knowledge and tools to help their child be successful as well. And by providing that support to parents, they not only feel heard and seen with their concerns about their child, but they can understand why their child is struggling and what can be done to help them.
Mm-hmm. Finally, how can organizations, educational institutions, and others create an inclusive education for their students?
Absolutely. So I think that's a great question. And I think that can kind of be summed up in one answer, and that is knowledge. I think knowledge about learning disabilities, knowing how to provide instruction for students and giving them the tools to access curriculum, knowledge about best practices for instruction. Instruction should be explicit, direct, and systematic. And knowledge about appropriate accommodations and differentiation in the classroom is going to help to build an inclusive learning environment. In the world of education, students can be successful in an inclusive environment when the adults around them know what they need and how to provide that for them. So teachers need to be knowledgeable and adaptive to a student based on their individual needs. I think every child has the right to the same opportunities in education, so we must have the knowledge to make that happen.
Mm-hmm. Yep.